Welcome to Midnight Menu Plus One. I'm Ray Canada.
And I'm Margot Moss.
We're here at Ted's Frost Top on Claiborne and Calhoun in Uptown New Orleans. Once a week, Margot and I meet here at Ted's, and we invite a member of New Orleans food community to join us. And we invite them to bring along a friend, a plus one. Now, we never knew who that plus one's going to be. Sometimes it's a friend, it's a neighbor, family member, a fellow restaurant business colleague, masseuse. We don't know. But in just a few moments, we're going to be talking with our special guest. And we are very excited to have with us tonight on Midnight Menu Plus One, a man who resigned as head of the CIA for reasons that he will disclose while he's on the show. But while we eagerly anticipate our special guest, Margot, I'm wondering how your weekend went, your tongue injury, your special meal. What happened to you?
Well, if I have a little lisp tonight, it's because I burnt my tongue on the reducing the root beer for the candied bacon. So.
Not a lot of people reduce root beer. You may be one of the few listeners that has reduced root beer before.
Well, I could be using the wrong word. Our guest tonight is not a chef, but maybe he'll know about reducing. Maybe syrups or something for drinks.
I think I wasn't criticizing. I'm saying
I know.
That's a novelty.
Well, I did have an interesting meal this week.
What was that?
I have been looking for a new restaurant to go to. I love ethnic food, all kinds of ethnic food. And I went to the new Korean place called Little Korea.
Where's that? On Claiborne?
On Claiborne. And
I've been wanting to go there. My wife won't let me. She's here right now. She hear this? You probably liked it.
Well, nobody wanted to go with me either because it looks like a little. It looks a little sketchy from the outside. Right. It was a Taco Bell, but there's
something else
great.
In between the Taco Bell and the Korean too that was also sketchy. When I went up there, the doors were broken when I went to eat there in my food quest, and they had it chained up, and you had to go around the side, and it was a mess.
Did you go in?
I went in and I ate, and it was mediocre. But Little Korea looks interesting, and it's the only Korean restaurant within the confines of Orleans Parish that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I would have
Korean
to say
restaurant.
Yes.
Did you like it?
There is one in Metairie, but
right. I'm saying within Orleans Parish,
okay.
It's the only one.
I loved it.
Awesome.
I had the bim bim bop.
Wow,
with
that sounds great.
The beef and
some kimchi, maybe.
Yeah, they brought out a little plate of like 4 different. One kimchi, and I don't know what the names of the other things were. Like maybe a pickled radish and
nice.
And we had one other thing. Oh, something with squid and pork. Squid and pork.
Okay.
Spicy deliciousness. I'm ready to go back. So
I'm excited about this. Now, if nothing else good happens, which always does in this show, if nothing else good happens to me, already I've been blessed because you've basically, now I can shame my wife into letting me go, at least. Yeah.
Well, and my 6-year-old went, and he
liked it too?
He ate it, yeah.
There you go. So 6-year-olds like it. Your seasoned palate liked it. It looks full when I go by all the time. There's a lot of people there. See, what happened is my wife, I don't blame her. When we were in grad school together more than 20 years ago, there was some very authentic Korean food being made, and they would age their kimchi for a long, 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 long time. They bury it in the dirt and all this stuff around our apartment, and then they cook it all.
Does it stink? Doesn't it stink?
It smells pretty bad to an untrained nose, and so the smell really nauseated her. So when she smelled that distinct smell, it'd freak her out. But it's been enough years now.
I can appreciate that,
and,
though.
But when you're in a plate full of it, it's not the same as a whole kitchen full of it. It's not going to be the same. It's not like they're going to put your face in a pot there, right? And so I really think she needs to give it another chance. And now you've just given me reason for that. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited for y'all because we loved it.
Cool. All right. Well, you'll hear about it if it ends up we end up not liking it. But it looks like our plus one. No, our main guest is here, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, we're ready to introduce him. Our very special guest is a writer aspiring to be a bartender. To that end, he's worked in various sinkholes and drink holes right here in New Orleans, from the bourgeois to the proletariat, and now he finds himself in the perfect combination of both, which is Nola Restaurant, Emerald's hip, casual restaurant in the French Quarter, where he has slung drinks and barbecued shrimp between sojourns to Brazil, on and off for over a decade. So we are very excited to have with us tonight the New Orleans original, Dean Ellis. Welcome.
Hello.
Good to have you here.
Great. Lots of wires and cables and stuff.
This is new for us tonight.
Oh.
We've never worn.
Now you should be used to
earphones.
this. You have 2 radio shows of your
I
own.
know.
But you're more high tech. It's all wireless there.
No. It's not high tech. It's just there's not a lot of wires. It's just a lot of complications.
Well, I got to be honest. I fought the headphones today. This is a new innovation today, and I didn't like it.
Let me just.
But I don't fight anything very hard.
I'm just going to give you a little tip about dead air, which is not going to happen today. If you get dead air on the radio, you back announce and you say, "That was John Cage's Dead Air Suite."
John Cage. I'm going to write that one down.
Dead Air
That-
Suite by John Cage. Yeah.
That Air Suite.
What if you say that like 4 or 5 times a show? Does
You
that-
could say
does
it's
anyone-
smoke gets in your ears or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
He's got it.
I got it. I'm going to use that. I'll use that at least twice today.
You know what I love
promise you.
about radio as well? You can drink on the radio. TV, you can't do it, but I'm having an LA 31 from Kill, Mississippi. This is good stuff.
You like
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
All right. It's
yeah.
a new beer we're trying out. I was hoping to have a little information on the brewer, and I'm trying to support some local businesses, and I mean it's kind of local.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Okay. Well, Dean, I would like to know where you were born and why the hell you came to New Orleans.
Both good questions. I was born in there was a hospital in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Oh.
In a hospital. It was not a home birth? Is that what you're
It was
getting at? Sorry.
It was actually it was a home hatching, but no. I was Margaret Haig Hospital in Jersey City was named after the wife of the mayor. There was a mayor of Jersey
Oh, that's the
City.
mayor that used to get the offerings every year. He'd sit up on his throne and they'd bring him money all the time. I know all about this guy.
Yeah, Boss Haig. Boss Haig.
Yeah. He was a hero to everybody. Built all the hospitals and everything. Then he ended up going down in flames at the end, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You got
that's
it.
the
So
guy.
you
He
were born
knows
in
it.
that hospital?
He was sort of like the Huey Long in a way of that part of Jersey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hudson County. And
Right.
For 40, 50, 60 years, anybody who was born in that city was
Did I just
born.
amaze you, Margot? That was pretty good. That was
Yeah, I
not
like it.
rehearsed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not even
I'm
from
Cliff
Jersey.
Clavin. I am from Jersey.
Oh,
It makes it less impressive, doesn't it?
what exit, I have to say. Yeah.
No. We were Staten Island and then East Brunswick for a little bit, and then
right.
Princeton for a while in grad school, and then Bridgewater in Somerset County.
Well, my father told me a story, and this may or may it's probably apocryphal, and it would go in my memoir if ever I were to write one, which God knows why. But when I was born, they were living in a little apartment house on, I think it was called John F. Kennedy. Well, no, it wasn't called John F. Kennedy Boulevard yet, but now it is. And he had he worked for his father's laundromat. It was a dry cleaning store in Jersey City, and he had a dry cleaning truck. That was his car, and one of Boss Haig's men came around and said, "Hey, Mr. Ellis, what can we do to get your vote?" He goes, "Well, look, my wife's pregnant, and I can't park in front of the apartment building because it's a no parking zone, and I would like to be able to park in front of my building because my wife's going to have a baby." And he goes, "Don't worry about it. We got your vote." Yeah. So he could park in front of that after, and in the beginning of my memoir, I say that if it weren't for that, I might have been bored in the back of a dry cleaning truck. I don't know.
That is incredible
Yeah,
that
that's a great
somebody
story.
would really, though, for a vote. I mean,
You're
was
from
your
New-
father...
I was going to say, you're from
You're from New
Louisiana. What are you
Orleans. What are
talking
you-
about?
I know, but was your father in the laundromat mafia, or what? I mean, why does he have such one man's vote? Or
Well, Jersey City was not a huge place either.
No,
not a
no.
huge
how many
place.
people?
Well, actually, it was
60, 80,000 maybe?
yeah. But it was
So every vote counts.
every vote counts, right?
Yeah.
His father was like from the boat in Russia and started his own dry cleaning company, and
Ah.
yeah. So
So you're Russian.
yeah,
Did
well,
anyone
well-
in your family speak?
They spoke Yiddish,
Ah.
Russian Jewish on one side and Irish Catholic on the other.
Really?
My joke is
Kind
that.
of like
It's going to
it's
happen
kind of
again.
like us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah,
go.
there you go. Well,
Yeah,
you
my
know,
mom's Russian Jewish, and yeah,
Well, I was making a joke about I'm Jewish and you're
I can tell.
Irish Catholic. I'm not
Are you-
Catholic or Irish.
No, not. But you're different than me. I mean,
I can tell by your hat. You got the flowers in the hat. That's very Russian Jewish. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. You know, I was baptized and circumcised at the same time. It worked out okay, but the moil almost drowned. Anyway.
How many times have you said that? A few thousand.
Yeah.
It's
On
funny
air?
every time, probably.
It works.
Though.
It still works, right?
Yeah, it'll
Is
never-
this the first time on
First
air?
time on the air.
Yes.
Come on, really?
I might have said it on OZ. All right,
You must
I
have
might
said it. Come on.
During the
Okay, so since we've
My next door neighbor, by the way, is from Jersey City. Just got to pull that in.
But you
there.
know,
Yeah.
the conflict of being half Jewish and half Catholic, you know, every time you face a plate of food,
here we
one
go.
side says, eat, here we go again. he sees this coming down Claiborne Avenue. Every time you face a plate of food, it's like one side says, eat, eat. There are people starving in Afghanistan, and the other side says, gluttony is a sin, so what do you do?
You eat and feel guilty about it.
Yeah. This guy, I love this guy. Yeah. And the
I
food's
get you.
coming,
No, I
right?
just- I get
I
you,
got an
that's all.
Angus burger, 7 ounce.
Oh yeah,
It's coming.
So you eat it and then feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just. I
And we
give up
like
the
that
guilt.
sound on air. I don't know on OZ.
The sound of eating an Angus
Yeah.
burger on the air.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Presbyterian. I'm Presbyterian minister, so I was predestined to eat the burger, and I don't have to worry about it then. God foreordained me to eat the burger.
That's the first time he said this on the air, too,
That is
right?
definitely the first
Yeah.
time I ever said that to anybody because it doesn't even make any sense. That's for the theologians out there listening.
Yes. I understand you have a big theological audience.
Yeah, huge theological audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Massive. Yeah.
Excuse me while I
Enormous.
sip my LA 31.
Nice.
So I would like you, after you finish drinking, to tell people listening, the few of Ray's audience. What? It's not audience. What is it called? The people that come to your church, your
Oh, congregation.
congregation.
You have your own congregation?
No, I really do. Yeah, I wasn't joking about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, huh?
No, I didn't.
No.
Oh, I have an actual theologian. I'm
Well,
being interviewed
that's-
by a theologian.
that's still-
This is a first.
Yeah, that's your dream.
This
come
goes
true.
in the memoir.
You've arrived now.
So I'd like you to tell Ray and our
you can't
his-
see through my sins, can you, from there?
I don't have one for that. Yeah, we got to change the subject. It's gonna be,
I won't tell you my confession joke then. All right, all right.
No, go ahead.
How about if I just tell you the punchline?
No, tell the whole joke. Go
What
ahead.
is a joke with that? Yeah.
All right. And now this is an internet show, right? So I can.
Yeah, it can be a
all
little-
It won't be
You can say
dirty.
It can be a little
anything you
racy. Don't worry
want.
about it. Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Ray might start sweating and be a little uncomfortable.
Okay,
but-
so an old Jewish man goes to a confessional booth. Do you know this one?
Uh-uh.
All right. An old Jewish man goes to the confessional booth and he says, "Father, can I confess?" He goes, "I guess, yeah." Well, you know, I have a shop. It's a tailor's shop, and this young woman comes in and she's the figure, beautiful, just young, beautiful. And so we start talking, and then we start kissing, and then we start making love, and we made love on the table, we made love on the floor, all afternoon making love. Unbelievable. And he goes, "Yeah, but why are you telling me? You're a Jew. I'm a priest." He goes, I'm telling everybody. Where is
That was worth
there a
it.
snare drum anywhere?
Yeah. You had a question.
That's my theological comment.
That's deep.
Well, I would like to know what brought you to New Orleans.
Literally, my car.
Okay.
Yes. Many years ago, I.
Did it break
And
down
if you're
here?
if you're from Jersey, it's about the car, right? Everything happens
Yeah,
in the car, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Why I left.
Yeah.
And you were conceived in the car.
I was- yeah.
In the truck. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you conceived? Wait, how'd you know that? You heard this before?
Did you see The
No.
Graduate? A Ford, Christ, a Ford. That's the great one. No, I may have been conceived in. Can we call my mom right now and ask? No, we won't do that.
We have the
We have
earphones on.
we have the capability.
No, I literally. I almost came here. I applied to college here, got into Tulane, and it was actually my second choice. I got into my first choice, went there in Boston at Tufts. But years later, I said, it was still in my, I got to go to New Orleans, you know?
Yeah.
And my first time here, I got a call from my brother. It was up in Boston, and my girlfriend at the time. Don't you love that expression, my girlfriend at the time? At the time. I was going to Europe, and he called me up. He was living in Brazil. He was working for a company out of New Orleans, the Robinson Lumber Company, and he said, look, there's a Jamaican lumber freighter leaving from Chalmette Slip in 2 weeks. Why don't you do it, you know?
Huh.
So I flew down to New Orleans and took the ship to Brazil. That's another story. But several years later, I said, I got to, you know, I've seen Chalmette. Now I got to see the rest of the city. And
wait, that's all you'd seen in Chalmette?
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was New Orleans to me, and I would
Wow.
take the bus onto Canal Street to Canal Street, and I bought a book at the B. Dalton called "Teach Yourself Portuguese." You know.
Nice.
And several years later, it was time to get out of New Jersey, so I packed up the car and just drove down.
Wow.
Was your brother still here when you drove down?
No, he was still in Brazil, and 2 days later, I walked into Mr. B's and said,
Yeah.
"You need a bartender?" And the guy behind the bar said, "Yes, I just quit. You got the job."
Now, wait a second.
Are you serious?
Really?
Yes.
Okay, hold on a
the
second.
second day here.
Now, had you tended bar before this? I assume you had,
Yes,
right?
I had a
You don't
New-
just start. Your entry-level job isn't just being a bartender at Mr. B's.
No,
They have
I
a
worked.
good bar.
I worked in New York and stuff.
Okay.
But working at Mr. B's was like an entry-level job. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in what way?
Well, they give you the day shift, and you work 5 days, and you work on weekends, and they have an ice mug machine and one blender, and you have a line of waiters asking for frozen brandy milk punches and
Right.
Rainbow Gin fizzes and all this.
Right.
And you set up for 2 hours, you get swamped, and then you have to set up for the night guy. And I remember 8 hours of working there, 5 o'clock shadow, orange pulp on my white shirt, just looking like crap. And the night manager, Miss Viva, would come in, and Charlie, the night guy, the night bartender, would come in all pressed, and his hair, this beautiful blonde, slick back hair, and she'd say, "Dean, you look like crap." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been here for 8 hours. You know, I never got a good shot with that." But the Brennans were great to learn.
How long were you there?
I was there for about a year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay.
And then
when was that?
That was 1984 to 85.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So you've been here a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I left and came back a few times. You know, I it was like New York, New Orleans, New York. I had like a little New York, New Orleans, Brazil. New York, New Orleans, Brazil. That was my little triangle. Yeah.
So after your trip on the ship,
Yeah.
was that your first time?
Yes, yes.
And you learned, how long were you, I'm backtracking a little bit, but were you on that boat long enough to learn any of the Portuguese out of the book?
Yeah, but it was kind of ineffective because before I got on the ship, I had studied Latin for many years and Spanish, and the Portuguese in the book was Portugal Portuguese, which is different than Brazilian Portuguese. So it has all these very soft sounds like oosh, like the word for Estados Unidos, oosh, Estados Unidos, and I got to Brazil, and I was staying in this Amazonian city, which is sort of the New Orleans of Brazil, because instead of being at the bottom of the country, it's at the top, but it's a port city, eccentric characters, very exotic, not like the rest of the country, so very eccentric place. And the phone, my first Portuguese was on the telephone. I was answering for my brother, and hello, is Brett there? And I'd say, no está, like, and they're like, and the words were, the word for come back in Spanish is regresar, and Portuguese it's voltar. So I confused the two and said revoltar, hey voltar. So I'd say, no está, ele vai revoltar amanhã. He'll come back tomorrow. Well, I get this sort of pause, like, okay. And then I realized I was saying, he's not here, he will revolt tomorrow. Yeah. So,
nice.
Those sort of mistakes you have to make when you're learning a new language. Yeah. You have to be willing to make an ass of yourself, in other words, like I am right now.
Not even close. Well, this is an awkward place to break this because I want to keep going with that. Maybe we can return to that. But your +1 is here, and I do not want to delay that any longer.
Speaking of foreign countries and foreign
well, okay,
cultures.
we'll find out. She's a foreign. Okay, good. Well, we have when we invite our guests on this show, we never know who their +1 is going to be. It's a mystery guest, and we're just meeting her now. And so, can you introduce your +1 to us?
Yes. This is Chris. And she's sort of like me. She came from another place, a foreign place like New Jersey, and landed on these shores. And Chris, I don't even know how to pronounce your last name. That's how exotic it is.
Not many people do.
Yeah,
I barely manage it myself.
I don't want to butcher it, so I'll let you do it.
Oh, it's Venshu.
Venshu. See,
Some people think it's Chinese. And the first time I heard that, it was like, how do you figure that? Venshu? That made some sort of sense.
And what is it?
It's East German.
East German. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
or when she says her last name, say it.
Venshu.
Gesundheit. There you go.
All right.
You've never heard that one before, huh?
Actually, I haven't.
Oh, see?
No
All right.
way.
Thank you.
Wow.
I was thinking it.
Yep,
No
see?
way. Wow. Okay.
See, it sounds like shtick here, but it's not. He's like coming up with these things off the top of his head. This is really impressive. I know why you have a couple shows
I'm
now.
walking shtick as well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, but I mean, you generate it like whole cloth out of the blue. It's amazing. Now, what do you do, Chris?
I'm an artist.
You're an artist, okay?
Yeah, I paint.
Right.
I paint.
All right.
When I can, when I figure something out, yes, I paint.
All right.
And what is your subject
Margot's an
matter
artist,
of
too.
choice? I'm aspiring. I wouldn't say I'm an artist.
She teaches art.
You know,
It's
we're all
it's a
kind of
six-year-old.
aspiring. You know, every artist is aspiring, essentially. So.
Margot is a piece of art, is what she is.
Oh, there you go. I'll take that.
I paint essentially still lifes, but with a surreal touch to them.
And, you know, I think I've seen you. I've taken classes at New Orleans Academy for Fine Arts.
I think
Do you-
that's where
and-
we've seen
Is
each
that the one
other.
in
Yes,
magazine?
Yes.
Oh, magazine,
The-
like
the-
right near Guy's Po' Boy.
yes, the ugly flesh-colored building on Magazine Street.
I love that place. No, I've been in there a bunch of times. I love it.
They
And,
have great shows there, too, for, like, the student shows are quite impressive, and people can come and support up-and-coming artists and get nice work for...
Our friend Carol Peebles, do you know her?
Yes, of course I know
Yeah,
Carol.
she's a good friend.
Wonderful lady. Yes.
Yeah. And she's always talking highly about that place as well. I was promoting it. You know Carol too?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I took figure drawing.
I think
from
everybody
Carol.
knows Carol.
I was the
Yes.
subject of her class, Faces of New Orleans. I modeled nude for her. No,
Nude.
it was not nude, but there are somewhere.
Nude faces of New Orleans.
Yeah, nude faces. But actually, my face wasn't even that nude. I had a big beard at the time, so there wasn't much skin showing at all, but just a few square inches. But yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, that's the mystery, the mystique.
yeah, right. You wanted to know what's under that beard, and then I got rid of the beard, and you know, it was not worth waiting for. Yeah, but
Speaking of Guy's Po' Boys,
yes.
do you go there all the time?
I like it. I like the
Yeah.
grilled pork chop po' boy with the onions on top.
Oh, and the
it's
grilled,
amazing.
The grilled catfish, but you got to wait about 3 hours for the grilled catfish.
It takes
bowl.
forever, yeah,
It's
yeah.
worth it though. But what's with the UPS thing over there? There's all the UPS guys go there.
Oh,
Yeah, it's fascinating. And there's a guy there. There's the owner. He makes the thing. It takes a while because he makes everything himself, which is great.
Right.
But he has an assistant, this little guy, who has this weird voice.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It sounds.
It's
this-
high pitched, and he also lets out a little
Little yelp.
yeah. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, right.
You know what my theory is?
Yeah.
Is that he's actually a mute, and the owner is a ventriloquist, and he just throws that voice onto that guy to have a conversation.
All right.
That's my theory.
I
don't
like
know.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, back to.
So ask him to drink a glass of water next time.
That's it.
Or a glass of LA 31 like I'm doing right now. Look, I'm going to do a German accent. Ready? Watch. I'm drinking and I'm talking.
Yeah, Dean is doing a German accent right now.
What do you
Wow,
think?
that's impressive.
Yeah. Gesundheit.
Now, how do you know each other?
We actually right now we're living the second time right next door to each other.
All
we
right.
barely knew each other the first time around.
All right,
He's a very elusive man. He can tell a story
All
much
right,
better than
I'm
I
a-
can, I'm sure.
I'm her first husband.
Really?
Yeah.
For real?
And you didn't know her last name.
Is
Well,
that
that's why we broke
Is that
up.
necessary to
That's
be
why-
married to each other?
That's why we broke up.
That's where we broke it because I could not pronounce her goddamn name. Yeah, that was it.
Wow.
She goes, "That's it. We've been married. We're married, and you can't pronounce it." No, that's not true.
Oh, all right.
No, we know each other through a mutual friend. There are people in New Orleans, and I think you know both of these people, as everybody does, Kim Bledsoe and Renee Alley. And I'm mentioning them because they're the kind of people who they are like, sort of like touchstones everyone around them knows them, and you know everyone through them.
They're like Kevin Bacon.
There you go. But it's
Times
only
two.
1 degree of separation
Yeah.
through these people, and we know each other through Renee, how I know you, and yeah. Is that right?
You know Renee as well?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? You don't.
I don't know Renee.
She's going to be here in 5. She's coming here in 5
We can
minutes.
change that. We can change
We're
that.
going to change it. She's on her way.
She's on her way. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I'm dying to meet her now. What's it say about me that I don't know Renee?
Yeah.
You may, and just
might.
not
when you
realize
see her,
it.
you,
Okay.
yeah. Renee.
What's Renee do?
She used to run the green. In fact, she really helped the Green Project get
love the
underway.
Green
She was
Project.
the original
She was the
original group, right?
Yes, and
when
she,
it was in Mid City.
and she ran it for 10 years, and was the one who was responsible for the move to the new building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah.
Now, where do you all live? You do live next door to each other, right? That part is true.
Basically.
Actually, 3 doors down.
Okay. And where is
Yeah.
that?
Webster Street.
Webster and what?
No, I don't tell the exact address
Oh, well,
though, in case some
stalkers?
of your fans.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
teasing.
I've got them already,
Roughly,
so it's
roughly.
not big. Yeah. Between Patton and Laurel, or over there.
Oh, right
You know,
there. I live on the corner of Henry Clay and Magazine.
Be careful.
We're
Oh,
near-
everybody
addresses?
knows that already. It doesn't matter. Yeah, everybody knows that. Yeah, the yellow house with a bunch of roses and stuff. There's a plaque in front. How do you not know this house? Everybody knows this house.
Now I
There's
can't.
like,
now I have to turn in my CIA card. That's it. Yeah. Wow.
He'll be able to see you tonight from his.
Yeah.
If I yell
Satellite.
loud enough, you can hear me.
All right.
But his satellite.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's you.
Satellite
That's been
image.
making that. Let me
Yeah,
tell you
yeah.
something. And don't park in front of my house anymore. I'm sick of-
That is our neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's the parking Nazis. Yeah. So, what are projects are you up to lately? What are you?
You're not
what are you
supposed to say the N word, by the way. With Anyway, go
What?
ahead.
And no?
I missed that. Okay. So, what are you working on now?
Actually, I just today finished a piece for Mardi Gras show at the Academy, opening this Saturday.
Oh, there's going to be a show this Saturday?
Yes, so come and see.
Well, this will not air in time. Unfortunately,
okay.
sorry. But tell us about it.
You'll be able to see the show for about 5-6 weeks.
Oh, okay, might then. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
good. What's it called?
It's the Mardi Gras show.
Mardi Gras
And
show.
is it
okay.
a just 2 artists? Are you
No,
one
no,
of the
it's a group show.
group show?
I think there's about 15-20 artists in it.
Oh,
okay.
right.
And Carol Peebles is probably going to be one of them.
Oh, great.
And I'll have a piece in the show. And the usual cast of characters that trumps through the building on a regular basis.
All right.
Now, is this something that's a regular thing? I mean, it sounds like it would be a tradition, but I've never seen that show.
I think
Is
it's
it
a
the
sort of once a decade tradition.
Okay.
As far
Once
as I
a
understand.
decade.
How much Mardi Gras can you do?
Plenty.
So what's the word? What's the word for once a decade? It's like biennial,
Decennial,
decennial.
Decennial sounds good, yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, you're the linguist.
It's a
don't know, yeah.
decennial tradition.
There you go. Okay.
And we killed Kenny at the
we
end.
are.
Well, let's try it.
Yeah. Why not? We might be 1 or 2 minutes
Okay,
early.
this is a very famous book from the 80s, 1980s.
It was a
I don't know-
bestseller when you moved to New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
When you
okay.
were working at Mr.
Did
B's,
you
it's a
grow up
bestseller.
in
That's
the
why I
United
didn't see it
States?
because
No,
You're
I
too
grew
busy
up-
working.
Yeah.
I grew up in East Germany, actually.
They weren't allowed to have books
Look,
there.
I'm an old-fashioned
They burned all the
communist.
books
I grew
there.
up on the other side of the wall. Exactly.
Well,
It's an old German tradition to burn books.
They
yeah.
kept a couple books, but that was about We won't mention the books they
It's
left.
like, Trotsky and yeah. But,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Weirdly, they
this
left.
should have been burned. I mean,
It should have been burned exactly, and
but
yet
I
we resurrect
found it. Yes, and we. So what you do is you tell us your favorite number between 1 and 200. I think we're missing
Well,
some
listen, it
pages.
used to be 222,
Ray,
yeah.
did you pull out some pages after that show where you got upset? That question I asked that nice
We asked
young
this
girl.
poor young girl. She was like 12, and she asked us some dirty question. It's horrible.
This guy's from Jersey. I can tell. Yeah.
So
She was
it's
from
now
Jersey, too, by the way.
200. So, and then we ask you the question,
Can I see
and
something for a second? It looks like it's
How much
missing more.
preparation
Oh,
time
wait,
do
wait.
I get to
217. What happened? Oh, you know what you're doing? You're looking at the alternate questions at the back.
okay,
That's
all right, thank you.
Easy mistake to make.
All right.
Chris, what was the first book
can
you
we
read?
veto the question?
What
No, you
was
cannot.
what was the first book you read that you weren't allowed to in East Germany?
That's
you
a
think
good
of it?
question.
That's a great
Thank
question.
you, Dean.
All right, we'll suspend
Now you're
this for a
testing my
second.
memory. I'm too old for that.
Make something
Well,
up.
how about make something up? Fahrenheit 451, maybe.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
I'm just curious.
I got to pass on that question.
No, but Chris has, really some fascinating stories. Because, we see movies, we read about it, but Chris has some fascinating insight into...
Yeah, but you're delaying our book of questions. We got to go back to that.
Sorry.
I'm dying to hear this now.
This guy's a radio guy. Cut to the chase, man.
Yeah, aspiring, yes.
Look who's in the car.
Is that Renee?
Yes.
All right, well, she looks vaguely familiar, yeah.
Maybe we can ask her.
No, you're just saying that to save your face.
Yeah, I know, exactly. 217, come on, 1 to 217.
You go first.
111.
111. Okay. Okay, well, I didn't start reading till past high school. Seriously, I never read a book until I was out of high school.
I don't believe that.
I swear to you. So I may not...
Wait, say that again?
What?
You didn't read a book until...
After high school.
Why is that?
Did you grow up with wolves?
In New Orleans,
No,
you don't
I
have
went
to.
to- no.
You don't have to read. There's so much visual and auditory.
I was really manipulative, and I must have been smart because I got
You were
through
too smart to
school.
read. You're too smart to read.
No, I was dyslexic, but I didn't know till I got to college. But I always hated reading.
Do you believe in dog? I'm sorry.
Is that what did the dyslexic Buddhists say or something?
What?
Is that? Do you believe in dog?
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
that the punchline?
No, the other Buddhist joke is about the lucky dog man, right?
I don't know it.
What
I'm
did
just-
what did the Buddhists say to the lucky dog
He's not
man?
going to let us read
I'll
the
have
question.
one with everything?
Never going to
Yes.
let us read the question.
And then the lucky dog man, he says, "How about my change?" And he goes, "Change comes from within." Anyway, all right, go ahead.
Okay. If your parents became infirm and the only alternative to bringing them into your home was to put them in a nursing home, would you do so? What about a sister or brother who suffered a permanently crippling injury and other than your home had nowhere to go but a convalescent home? Okay.
This is such a light show.
I know.
love that.
Yeah,
This
see-
is- yeah.
This book is
It's very 80s. Well, that's when my parents were in the nurse home business. That's in Jersey,
still had
Dover,
nursing-
New Jersey. Seriously,
In the 80s?
And that was
When
like when it
this
exploded.
question
People
would
started going,
end?
"Wait a second, we don't have to take care of the old people. We can put them in a nursing home, and this is cool." And there was like a debate
That
about
was a
that.
Jersey thing. That
Well,
started from.
it was an 80s thing. I don't know if it was a Jersey thing. Jersey does invent most things, but I'm not sure if we can take credit for the
My
nursing
grandmother was in a nursing home in near Dover, by the way, but that's another.
home. Oh, I know
story.
them all. Yeah, we can talk. That could be another show.
They were in the business?
Yeah, that was their business for 20 years. They owned and
Wouldn't
operated
it
a
be
nursing
crazy if it was the same nursing home?
home. Yeah, it was in Dover, though. It was on Sussex Street near Blackwell. You'd know if it was that.
Yeah.
That can't be it.
Okay. That's a lot.
We went
is
to
that a
different
disturbing
schools
question?
together.
That's
me
a
and
very
this guy.
disturbing question. It's actually not disturbing to me. Why do you think I moved over here? I'm thousands of miles away from anybody I'm related to by blood, so they're not going to come all the way over here to live with me. I don't have to deal with this.
She may have gotten out easier than anybody ever has. In this.
That's great.
All right. Make him pick another one.
5.
That sounds familiar. We might have had 5.
Oh,
before
really?
this.
If you had
No,
5,
no.
I'll pick another number.
If a new medicine were developed that would cure arthritis but cause a fatal reaction in 1% of those who took it, would you want it to be released to the public?
Bizarre.
I don't know. That seems like. I mean, polio apparently is sort of like that. The polio vaccine, I think, causes. I don't know if it's 1%. I don't know what the percentage is, but almost every vaccine has that. So, yes, release it. Let it go.
Release it. It's
Go.
worth it.
Well, if it causes arthritis, that's okay. If it causes something worse, maybe not.
Fatal.
Fatal.
Oh,
Fatal's
fatal.
Fatal's
It
worse than
kills.
arthritis.
Oh, let it go. That's even better.
Well, if you have arthritis, who wants to live with
No,
arthritis?
but can you pick who gets the fatal dose or no?
Now,
Well, can
we
you
need to
narrow
start
it down
adding,
at
I'm going to
least?
give you this book to take home with you, Dean.
I'll study it.
And you will study it and add little interesting
Sort of like,
tidbits.
I think they should have been. I know this is going to be controversial to those. Remember, I'm a Yankee, so can we invent a gun that a smart gun? It only activates when it's pointed at the president of the NRA. Can we I'm sorry. All right.
No politics here. It's a politics-free zone.
was that
No,
politics?
We're just kidding. You're allowed to say whatever you want
Just
politically.
joking. No,
you
that's
you
fine.
can get into anything you want.
No.
Definitely.
All right. That was
I would
anything
like
else.
to hear one interesting.
Commie story.
Yes.
Well, my mom actually still considers herself a communist. 20-something years later.
All
That's
right.
like
Yes.
Lenin, Goodbye Lenin, the
Goodbye,
movie.
Lenin.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Did you
My
see that?
mom
I
basically
didn't
went
see it.
into a coma after the wall came down, and she still considers herself a communist.
It was a great movie
Now,
about that.
minus the coma, it's actually true.
Now I wonder. There's probably more people that there's probably more communists in old West Germany than there are in East Germany, right? The ones that lived through it probably have a more negative experience than the ones that are still nostalgic about it.
Or the
probably.
ones that left like me.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. But your mom's not one of them. She's
No, she's committed.
committed.
Yes, she's committed.
Now, was she born it? No, she wouldn't have been born
To
into it.
communism or just committed, period?
Oh, she's committed. Period. You got that right. Yes.
All right, well, tell us-
Without having met her, you've
All
got
right, tell
my mom
us,
figured
Zane,
out.
you know, the communism it results in the weird, you know, we all know about the lines, you know, all the crazy stuff and the weird censorship stuff. I remember David Shipler, I read he was the New York Times correspondent in Moscow, and he wrote a biography. And he's a lefty himself, but he was, you know, kind of crazy about what happened to him there. And he had these people used to follow him, and they do it by they had a hollow room next to his office, and he'd see it's like that that Roadrunner episode of the Bugs Bunny one or whatever, where the dog chases the whatever it is, and then when the whistle blows, they stop and then they have lunch and then they go back, you know, and they'd see the guy and they wave and they go in the room and he'd listen and put on the headphones. And you know, but I mean, do you have any kind of weird, I don't know, anything like that?
Oh, you want to know the story where I got arrested for saying the wrong thing?
Yes.
Ah,
That's
there
what I
we
was
go.
asking for, yeah.
Yeah.
He was-
No, never happened.
East Germany was not like a Warner Brothers cartoon. But-
This is David Shipler.
oh, Shipler.
This
okay.
was a high-end Warner Brothers cartoon.
No, you know, I always tell people, growing up in East Germany was really nothing like the propaganda you always
Really?
heard about.
It was like
normal.
it was like Jersey,
we had
right?
food, we went to restaurants, we went to school, we did the same things that you guys did. So nothing really
So my
mysterious.
Russian friend
about
lied to
it,
me.
What
you
kind of
know.
restaurants? Did they have a Mr. B's and?
Well,
No,
speaking
none
of-
none of that. We ate the burgers without the McDonald's sign on it,
much better.
and
Real
no,
meat.
no funny graphics.
it was like
no
the
funny graphics.
Teddy's Frost Stop burger.
Ted's Frost Stop Burger in
I know you've discussed this, but what was great about Teddy's Frost Stop was the upside down.
Yeah.
the
I
mug
mean,
on the ground after
it-
Katrina.
I mean, that was a
That
beautiful.
was awesome.
No, it was a beautiful. No, seriously. I mean, we were talking about Renee Alley, our friend who's here, and we sort of discuss the post-Katrina period in a weirdly nostalgic way, if you know what I mean. I mean, it was the most tragic thing that happened to the city ever, except maybe yellow fever. But
Bronze John.
for those of us who were lucky enough to come back right after, that upside down thing was sort of like something that was sort of a monument in a way. And the lucky ones like us, we came back and you'd see someone and you'd say, "How'd you make out?" And you'd hug, and it was like a pioneer town. And oh look, Teddy's or what's the place on Magazine? The little diner.
A magazine.
Some goodies.
Some goodies.
Some goodies.
Oh, yeah.
They got red beans and rice
Yeah,
for
yeah.
$5. Let's go there, and it was this beautiful sort of empty, bleak place, and they hadn't let the criminals back yet.
Right.
But that upside down mug at Teddy's was something that you drive by and you go, you know, it's going to be all right.
Huh.
I don't know. That's just yeah.
Well, that's an interesting
Yeah.
perspective. People were, a lot of people came in and were upset when we put it back up.
Yeah.
oh,
and had it
interesting.
fixed.
That's interesting.
And then some people were thrilled because they felt like, okay, it's symbolic of things
Of
change
coming
and
back.
coming
That's
back.
fascinating.
And,
That's great.
So it was interesting to see.
Yeah.
But that was important to my brothers and partners to get that back up and spinning. And
I didn't mean to interrupt, but that was
No.
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I would like to know where you work currently.
Okay,
And
well, this is it right here. This is my gig right now. I'm just kidding.
Bartending.
I
right?
bartend at a NOLA restaurant. Emerald's sort of hip, casual alternative in the quarter, and I've been there on and off for like 10 or 12 years. I'm sort of like a boomerang. They throw me out and I come back. No,
So you've been fired there before?
No, I've never been fired. I leave to go on my journeys, you know.
Are they supportive of that?
Oh, yeah.
So what do they do with the guy who replaces you when you get back? They just like let him go?
I'm irreplaceable. You don't know that? Yeah. No, what
They
I do
don't
is,
make it.
No, they say, all right, you know, he's got to do his Brazil trips. He's got to go off to his thing, and no, they're great. It's a great staff. It's a young staff. Like all the management is like my peers. I when I started was in the first day of 1994. I was hired New Year's Eve, 1993 into 94. Wow. Someone called me and said, "Hey, Dean, my friend just quit. Go over there." And I went in, and they hired me on the spot, and started the next day. And it's a funny story about my first day because it sort of speaks to the restaurant industry here, where everybody knows everybody. Once you've been here for a while, you've worked with everybody in different places. And my first day at NOLA, 1994, January 1st. And as I say, I worked there until like 2000. I left for like 7 years. And after Katrina, about a year and a half later, I was walking down the street, had no intention of going back. And I saw a friend of mine who was a bartender with me. He was from Prague, and he had become the sommelier. He was a chemist and a drunk. So perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you're the sommelier, right?
Yeah.
So I said, I'll go say hello to Jack, who's now the owner of Fahey's in the Quarter. He and his wife bought Fahey's out, and he quit to do that. But I said, I'll go say hello to Jack, and I walked in, and the barman just said, "You need a job?" I'm like, all right, I'm back. But the very first day I worked there in 94, Tony Lott, who was the the GM there, I had worked with Tony at the Palace Cafe. I was a bartender. He was a waiter only 3 years before, and Tony worked his way up to becoming the GM. He's really a dynamic guy from the West Bank. Anyway, so when you start a new job in New Orleans in the biz, you already know several people. So I knew like 5 or 6 people already. I'm behind the bar, and they're having their pre-meal, the meeting where they discuss the specials and everything. The whole staff is gathered, the cooks, the waiters, everybody. I'm behind the bar setting up. A guy comes in the back door with his wife. He's drunk from Bourbon Street. This is like about 5:20. We open at 6. And he says, I said, "Can I help you, sir?" He goes, give me a drink. I'm like, "I'm sorry, but we don't open until 6. He goes, I want a drink. I'm like, "Come back at 6. He goes, "You got to do better than that." I'm like, I can't do better than that. We open at 6. He goes, "You got to do better than that." I'm like, "We open at 6. He goes, "You got to do better than that." And then I started to say, "Sir, why don't you talk to?" He goes, "You're." Can I say? He says, "You're an a-hole. You're an a-hole." I'm like, "Why don't you talk to one of the a-holes in the blue suits over there?" But before I could even say that, he starts screaming, "You're an a-hole! He starts screaming. Tony comes running over from the pre-meal that he was doing, and said, "Sir, what seems to be the problem?" He goes, "This a-hole. I have reservations at 6:30. This a-hole won't let me have a drink." He goes, "Your reservations have just been canceled. Get the F out of here."
Oh, wow.
Which was great.
Support you
That was
on
great.
your first?
Right.
Wow.
And so it was great.
And that was Mayor Mitch Landrieu, wasn't it?
That's right. And the funny
Everybody's
thing,
entitled to a bad night.
right. And so the rest of the night, of course, all the waiters, "Hey, a-hole, get me a gin and tonic."
And that became your nickname.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it still is. It's a sort of an endearment. Yeah. But anyway, so that's the kind of place NOLA is. It's a real like kind of family place, and it's cool because you feel like you're working. And in I'll reveal that I worked with Margot many years ago at a place like that.
Reginelli's, huh?
Reginelli's, before it was a pizza place, was an eating gallery where you ate the paintings right off the wall. No, that was a gallery and a restaurant. And it was sort of like the customers and the staff were the same people.
Huh.
Like you're working in your living room.
Yeah, I got paid to hang out. I don't know if it was really called working.
You
what I did.
should always.
I stood by the door and greeted people. And I was there for over a year, and I still couldn't ring up a check properly. I was supposed to ring up a
But
check.
would you pay Margo to hang out? I would.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's what we're doing now, except we're
Yeah.
not getting paid.
You get paid in burgers and LA 31.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And that's good enough. But
Wait, you're only there a year?
maybe longer than
I feel
a
like
year.
I've
but
heard
it
like
seemed-
25 stories from Reginelli's.
Oh,
Like so much
that's
happened in that year.
1 week
Yeah.
of
No,
Reginelli.
they were open a long time. I don't know how long I was
No.
there. I worked on weekends, maybe a couple years. I have no idea. It really was so much fun, and it was
Wow.
like being paid to hang out with your friends. And I remember the first week they opened. We will not use any names, but what was your experience the first week they opened?
Okay.
It might have been opening night.
So my
And
Reginelli's?
Daryl Reginelli's parents were there,
Oh.
and it was opening night.
No, I don't know if this is the same story because there's so many, as you say, there's so many stories about this place. I don't think this was opening night. You can tell that one. This was one of the restaurant story horror stories. A couple came in. This was not their opening night. A couple came in, and there was this older couple, the kind of couple that go out once a month.
Right.
And they pick a restaurant, and they say, oh, honey, we're going to go to this place once a month, and it's a big night for them. They came in, they sat at the bar, and I said, oh, can I help you? Yes. Well, we are so excited to be here. We read about your restaurant, and well, great. Well, what would you like? And so they didn't have a drink. They had like Coca-Cola and stuff. And then they went into the restaurant, and it was a Saturday night. Everybody was at the bar. We're having fun. And Daryl, the owner, his wife, Angela, who was a med student at the time, who's now a great doctor here in town, and they had two or three Weimaraners. Two Weimaraners and another big dog. Okay, so Angela was walking the dog. She comes in, and she came through and they lived upstairs. The owners, Daryl and Angela, lived upstairs. She comes in through the back door, and the restaurant door, and I see this all in slow motion. Angela she lost control of the dogs, reaching in slow motion. They run into the bar,
Crazy hyper
into
dog.
the restaurant, and Angela, no. And this couple, of course, the woman is deathly afraid of dogs. And who do the dogs go right to?
Yeah, always.
Of course. They go to the woman. She literally stood up on the table, screaming. Of course, to be fair, what's the last thing you expect when you're sitting in a restaurant? There's three giant Weimaraners going to your table. You know, maybe a waiter and a busboy, but three Weimaraners. One of them licked her leg. Okay. Well, that's okay. I expect that when I go to a restaurant. So a dog licking
Somebody needs to lick my leg.
By the way, where's the dog licking my leg right now? I want, Anyway, so of course the poor woman is freaked out, and I went over. I tried to make a joke, and I went over to them and I said, by the way, those dogs, they're tomorrow night's special.
Yeah.
And the man was like not amused. He goes, I know what you're trying to do, but this is the absolute worst thing that ever happened to us in our entire lives. And I said, the guy with the ponytail, that's the only, you might want to talk to the guy with the ponytail. And poor Daryl goes over, I've been in this business for decades, and this is the worst thing. Anything, it's on us. Please come back, and, nothing. Yeah, so. But that happened at Reginelli's every night, that kind of thing.
And that was before the internet, so they couldn't.
No
ruin the
Yelp.
No Yelp. No. Well, that is.
What was your story? I'm sorry.
Well, I don't.
There was the drunken Santa Claus.
No, this was a drunken uptown girl from a famous family, but we will not say the name. Do not say the name.
What's it rhyme
But
with?
the first, no, none of that.
Initials?
None of that. But it was opening night, and Coach Reginelli and his wife were.
My
Daryl's whole
Bonnie
family.
lies over the ocean.
So the I'm not going to tell this story.
No.
I don't remember. I just remember there
couldn't
was
do that at
like
the end?
naked.
Oh, but that was
No. Dancing on the bar. Just
little old Margot who hadn't read a book until she was 18 years old. Much less a Playboy magazine.
I was just glad it wasn't me because I used to do that for shots. You got to get something out of it if you're going to.
How come I was off? Why was I off those nights?
No, that was high school. That didn't happen at Reginelli's. I was an old.
You danced naked on bars
not
for
naked.
shots?
Before
Not
reading,
naked.
before
That's
reading
because
books, can you imagine?
That's because she didn't read. If she had read, she
they
wouldn't be
should've known.
doing that.
Right.
You should have been reading Fahrenheit 451 like Chris over here.
With a flashlight under the covers so the Stasi didn't catch her, right?
That's exactly what happened, yes.
Oh.
Well, I did have kind of a serious question. Well, I heard a interview on NPR.
Good station. Not as good as this one, but it's almost, yeah.
Should we not go heavy? Last question. Do you have any good questions?
No, yeah, I want to hear yours.
Well, I don't really know how to pose it, but I so after Katrina, you were back in New Jersey, correct?
Yes.
Jersey City.
And Dean does 2 shows on WWOZ,
Right.
2 great shows.
By the way, greatest radio station in America. If I listen to radio, I would listen to that every day.
So tell him what your 2 shows are for.
Oh well,
listeners
one
out there
is
that
one
don't-
is a Brazilian show called Tudo Bem. It's every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m.
So do you DJ in Portuguese?
Well, sometimes, I mean, some of it's in Portuguese, but most of the majority of the audience is, I mean, it is a American or English-speaking audience.
Okay.
So,
But
but
it's,
we
it's
do
Brazilian music.
Brazilian music, yeah.
It's like Shagado and stuff, and
on OZ.
that's the only one I know locally.
Shagado, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You're like my daughter. My daughter's fluent in French. I can't say anything in French around her. She goes like, "What? I didn't even understand that. What was that word?"
Yeah.
I've seen them like 6 times. Okay, I don't know how to say it though.
Anyway, yes, and also a late-night eclectic jazz show called The Dean's List on Sunday at midnight. Yeah. But, oh, yeah, so you were asking me about the...
Okay, so you, after Katrina, you went back to New Jersey, correct?
Yes.
And I saw something that you did a show, and you're quoted as saying, now I can't do it, but this is Dean Ellis coming to you from Jersey City, New Jersey, place of my birth, and now the home of WWOZ in exile. WWOZ FM in New Orleans, place of my rebirth. We're still buoyant. We're still here. We're still New Orleans. We're still OZ. Here's Lucinda. Now,
You know, you can't get away with these days. You can't get away with anything, huh? The internet's there. Yeah, that's true. I was in Jersey, and WFMU out of Jersey City, sort of a sister station of OZ, was great. They were streaming. The signal during Katrina, playing old OZ shows, etc., and using their website to stream OZ. And I called Ken Friedman, the head of the station, and asked him, "Hey, look, I'm up here. Can I do a show?" He goes, "Great, come on in." And I did a show at FMU, and sort of based around the evacuation and the hurricane and everything else, put it together, and I said that, broadcasting. And then what happened was NPR did a story about that and played that little snippet of me saying, broadcasting from Jersey City, the city of my birth, for New Orleans, the city of my rebirth, and literally my 15 seconds of fame, until now, that is.
until this show.
You've had whole hour of fame here.
But the funny thing about that story was I knew Little Queenie was in New York, and I called Little Queenie and I said, "Hey, you want to come on?" And she said, "I can't, baby, but look, I'm doing a gig at the New Yorker Festival in Town Hall. Why don't you come be my guest?" So I met Little Queenie in New York City, and she was staying in a hotel, and like a block and a half from Town Hall on a Saturday night. And I said, "Well, let's go." And she goes, "Oh, I got a car." I'm like,
in New York?
Yeah. I'm like, "But it's only a block and a half." "No, we're taking the car." Of course, the car took 45 minutes in New York traffic. We got there. We go backstage, and it was an amazing experience. Like, it was all these New Orleans DJs. At one point, I'm staying by Philip Seymour Hoffman, Toni Morrison, Elvis Costello. Who else was there? Lou Reed and me.
Wow.
You know. And Little Queenie had a bottle of bourbon and was passing it around to everybody. That was the New Yorker Festival doing a benefit for New Orleans. Anyway.
And was that when you did that first show, was that cathartic for you? And
Yes.
did you get feedback? Did you hear from?
Well, what I did was, because I took that show, and a year later on the anniversary, I replayed it on the Dean's List and did a little monologue before it. And yes, I'd written a poem about the whole thing. This is a whole other thing, and someone called up and said it was like a little poem about a friend of ours, Jennifer Odom, did an installation in St. Louis concerning the hurricane. She suspended these half-filled jars of muddy water dropped a little possession in each, and suspended them from these sort of posts which have reflected the shape of the river. And I did a little poem about that, and I read it on the air, and someone called up and said, that's everything right there. And no, that was, But it's like, how does art reflect, real life? I'm not saying I did. I'm just saying that the response you get when you just play music on the radio, you play a song on the radio, and it really hits people, and you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Well, it's been so good having you all here tonight. Thank you. Our special guest tonight on Midnight Menu Plus One was Dean Ellis, and his plus one was Chris Venchu.
Very nice, very nice.
All right. Well, you can find out more about Dean Ellis's restaurant.
No, please, no. Oh, the restaurant, yeah. not me.
Well, yeah, now it looks like we need to do some more digging.
I actually left Jersey because I wanted there.
That's why we all leave. Nola.
By the police, I mean.
Nola. You need to go check out Nola. You can go see him there several nights a week, once in a while, often, I guess. Yeah.
Every couple years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's not in Brazil, he will be at Nola. And you can go see Chris's exhibit at the New Orleans
Academy of Fine
Arts on Magazine.
Yes.
Starting
on Saturday, what's it?
What would that date be, the 11th?
The
12th?
Sounds about
11th?
right,
11th.
yes.
2013.
2013.
That is it.
Right, because people will be listening to this show for years and years. Our show's recorded live at Ted's Frost Top on Claiborne Avenue in Calhoun in Uptown New Orleans. Ted is open 7 days a week, serving first-class burgers, beers, and their awesome homemade root beer in a frosty mug. Ask for the Ray mug, but it won't be frosty. Midnight Menu Plus One is produced by Brian Ruiz with assistance from Margot and me. Very little assistance from Margot and me. Brian Ruiz is also our technical director. You can get in touch with us here at Midnight Menu Plus One by going to our website, itsneworleans.com. From there, you can follow us on Twitter, find us on Facebook, and sign up for our mailing list. While you're at itsneworleans.com, you can listen to our other episodes of Midnight Menu Plus One, as well as other shows, Happy Hour, Mindset, True to the Game, Out to Lunch. If you're listening to the show on iTunes, thanks for subscribing. Maybe you could take a minute to rate and review us, and that helps other people finding us. Midnight Menu Plus One is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. So we meet again here at Ted's Frost Top. I'm Ray Canada.
And I'm Margot Moss.
Good night.
You know Labor Day signals the unofficial end of summer, but not the end of your outdoor projects. Lowe's helps you do it right and helps you save with Labor Day deals throughout the store. Shop now and get 2 bags of Stay Green Potty Mix for $12. And keep your lawn looking neat and trim with a Craftsman 2-cycle 17-inch gas string trimmer, now $20 off at just $119. Whatever's still on your to-do list this Labor Day, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 8/28. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii, U.S. only.